has served as president of the prestigious professional organizations. He was former president of the Unix Users Club of the Philippines and the Philippines Association for Open Communicating. He is Microsoft's National Technology Officer for the Philippines and also the president of the Inforcomm Technology Association of the Philippines, or ITAP. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Damian Domingo O. Mapa, or Mr. Dondi Mapa.
Thank you. Actually, I'm just the intermission number between Congressman Tinga and ASEC-C. I was asked to talk about the history of this Cybercrime Prevention Act. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of my former colleagues in government. Secretary Ray Ross Chua, formerly the chairman of CICT. And of course, Undersecretary Timmy Diaz de Rivera, formerly Director General of the NCC. Is Ivan here as well? Sec Ivan Uy? Not yet. Okay, I believe he's going to be here later for the Q&A portion. He'll answer all your questions. I'm here to warm you up for the main event, right? ASEC-C. Just by way of making this more interactive, I have a short survey. Just please raise your hand if you feel that A, we need the cybercrime legislation and what we have now is perfect. Anyone? If you raise your hand now, you can already go home. B, how many of you feel that we do not need any cybercrime legislation? So if you did not raise your hand for A or B, then you're probably in C. We need cybercrime legislation, but some changes are needed. Raise your hand, please. Okay. All right. So we're clear where the audience lies. As a further question, I would like just to get a feel, of where you're coming from. I know where JJ is coming from. We have several others that have been quite vocal about their positions. But just for today's purposes, we want to control the open forum a bit later on, and want to address really the pressing questions. So, if you could just ask one question today about Republic Act 10-175, would it be on the provision on online libel? Would it be about the higher penalty for crimes using ICTs? Would it be about the warrantless collection of traffic data, or Section 12? Would it be the seeming double jeopardy bill, where you can be brought to court for online libel as well as libel in print? Would it be Section 19, blocking or restricting without a warrant any access to a website based on prima facie evidence? Or would it be a question on some other position? So again, this is important because we'd like to know how to run the open forum later on. How many are going to be asking a question on the online libel provision? How many will be asking on the higher penalty clause? Okay, how many will be asking about Section 12, warrantless connection of traffic data? Okay. How many are curious about the double jeopardy? Okay, quite a few also. And how many are interested to ask about Section 19, the blocking or the warrantless seizure? Okay. Any others that we missed? Yes, Janet, what were you going to ask? Okay. Very interesting. Sorry, but this is broadcast live. Maybe Attorney Rudy, yes, what was your additional questions about? On the constitutionality? Okay. I think, sir, you lost your way. The Supreme Court is on here. Just kidding. Just kidding. But that's right. If we have time, we can get to some of those. Thank you. Thank you. Now, when I was asked to talk about this portion, they told me, talk about the legislative history of the bill. I said, how far back do you want me to go in terms of legislative history? And I asked myself, now, why do we need laws? It's really there to regulate human behavior. Actually, from as far back as 4,000 years ago. For example, the Code of Hammurabi, which states, If anyone steals the property of a temple or the court, he shall be put to death. So the crime is stated as well as the punishment. But there's also this concept of a heavier degree of punishment. Like if you strike, in law 195 of the code says, if you strike your father, your hand will be cut off. If you strike someone else, it's okay, they'll whip you or something. But if you strike your father, your hand shall be hewn off. Now, this showed that society at the time wanted to show greater respect for family values. So there were these special circumstances that were introduced. Another law that's over 4,000 years old is the law referred to as the Pentateuch, which contains the 10 commandments associated with Moses in the Exodus story in the Old Testament. I bring it up because it's interesting to look at the 9th commandment that states, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor," period. Does not stay in media, in print, or online. It's basically covering all types of media. So as you can see, the human race now has a rich history of having legislation aimed at regulating human behavior. How about in the Philippines? We have had similar codes, beginning with the barangays before the Spaniards came. And then, of course, the Spaniards gave us our first penal code from 1886 to 1930. So even after the Spaniards left, we continued to use that. Then we had the penal code, first enacted in 1930, amended since many times over, so we now call it the revised penal code. One of the things that we notice in the revised penal code is it also contains this, state the crime, state the punishment, but there are cases when there is a heavier punishment that is meted out. These are called aggravating circumstances. For example, if you commit a crime during a time of earthquake, calamity, or other misfortune, your penalty is higher. Why? Well, probably you can already reason that out, no? People are already suffering, tapos you give them a heavier suffering. If you commit a crime with the aid of persons aged 15 or below, again, the penalty that's given to you for that crime is higher. Okay? Why? Yeah, no, because we value our youth. We should not be subverting them to evil causes. We should be actually helping them, right? Why use them in committing a crime? Very interestingly, it also says, if a crime is committed by means of motor vehicles, watercraft, airships, or other similar means, then your penalty is again higher. You notice here, where the concept of there's a new technology that's introduced, and that technology is supposed to be used for the good of society. And if someone uses it for a crime, then we punish them. Of course, we also punish them because it's harder to run after them. If they're, at that time, our policemen were probably on horses. So they said, well, if this guy uses a motor vehicle and he keeps getting away, when we catch him, we should put him in jail longer. Right? Now, I'm not saying this to support the concept of higher penalties. No? I just want us all to be on the same page and have a shared context, whether you're looking at this legislation for the first time or for the 100th time. So what is really the nature of cybercrime? First of all, it's fast. It can be done in a matter of milliseconds. Ask yourself, if you're a car napper, how many cars can a car napper steal in one day? Maybe 3, 4? I don't know, if you're Nicolas Cage in this movie Gone in 60 Seconds, he got 60 cars, right? But a typical car napper, how many can he car nap in one day? Compare this to a cyber criminal. How many victims can he have in 1 hour? Hundreds of thousands, probably. Second, cybercrime is random. Doesn't matter whether you're old or young, whether you're rich or poor, a student or a journalist, you can be targeted by cybercrime. Unlike when you're walking down the street and probably the criminal is observing, who is someone that I can rob today. Is his car nice or not? Here, does not matter who you are, you can be targeted for cybercrime. And yet, strangely enough, you can also be targeted specifically. What do I mean by that? If someone were to go into your bank, open the vault, and steal the money there, the bank cannot say, oh, Mr. Lagi, 1,000 of your account was stolen, and Mr. so-and-so. Cannot. The bank's money was stolen. When we talk about cybercrime online, in the US, where they've been gathering statistics about this, over $500 million of funds that have been reported stolen can be traced to individual account owners. So when a cybercriminal steals money from a bank, he steals from your account, not just from the bank's account. So it can be also targeted. It's anonymous, right? You have no idea who did it to you. You have no idea who to run after. hopefully you're going to rely on the law, which has the powers to